Infrastructure that they developed open source and they're looking to patent.
And welcome to
Patent
our
their
second
venture
episode of
for
Funded Founder Fridays.
15
This
plus
episode
years.
is, what is it
Now we're
called?
looking to commercialize.
Validating and pitching your idea.
Yes. So here we are making space for founders to ask questions about the startup journey. In each episode, we'll discuss a topic of the month, and this month it's community and community building. And then we have a specific subject that we discuss within the topic of the month for the episode. And our episode today is branding and messaging and how this relates to pitching a startup. So the conversation is between founders and investors and those interested in getting involved in the startup journey. I'm Rosalia Bañuelos, the co-founder of Creatopia Inc. Here we are at the Innovation Studio at 801 Travis. And with Creatopia, we've really been centering on talking, on discovering how storytelling plays into our messaging. A lot of what we do is video production for entrepreneurs, as well as stream live shows like this one. So we are very focused on figuring out what the storytelling journey is like for founders, and it's been really fun to start doing that because
Yeah.
it's all like video production and video and media and marketing. It's all going into narrative storytelling, and that's just a lot of it's really fun with all the different things that you can do. Like one of our clients, she wants to start doing like mini Mexican soap operas
Oh, interesting.
to discuss her stories and how she's and her journey as well. Do you want to say something about that?
I think the story of the startup is now the most important thing, right? When you build a startup, the way you tell the story, the way you cross your message, I think now is important. And it's just like you have this great idea, you have this great baby that you're forming in your head. So now you wanted to share it with the world. So you want to tell everybody that, this is what I'm building, this is what I'm doing. Because we are too attached to our ideas, we are too attached to our the stories. Most of the time, we tell the story about like how we see the world, how the product is, and how cool we are. And a lot of people don't care about that. So they wanted to see how this product, this solution, this idea is going to help them. So that's why today we're going to talk about the idea, like how people come up with the idea, what is the origin of the idea, how do we validate the idea, and more importantly, how do we communicate and pitch the idea. That's, I think, very important.
And in working with founders, it's been fun and for me as well, right? And how we started telling the story of Creatopia, or just even starting
Mhm.
to engage with the market, right? You have to start storytelling from the beginning, and so it's been fun and a struggle to discover all of the overwhelm that startup founders and
Mhm.
CEOs and anybody that's an entrepreneur that overwhelm that they experience when they're trying to put all of these, like, because you've probably been thinking about your startup for years, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe sometimes like a decade. And so how do you put all of that into
Into-
not only into writing, but then into video productions, into something that actually looks good when you're presenting it, and how all of that ties into your branding, right?
Yeah.
And your messaging.
Yeah.
So today we have two guests, two different groups of guests with us. First is Keytrick Kearns, and he'll be talking specifically about branding and messaging and all he does around that. And then we have a group of students who we met at an Ed Talk at City Hall, and they'll be sharing their app idea and their project and everything that they're doing around it. So we're very excited. And we can go into introducing Keytrick now, so we can just start that conversation with him. So Keytrick Kearns, after 25 years with brands like Disney, CNN, and ExxonMobil, he learned that great technology and products only succeed when people understand the why. As the founder of Approachable, Keytrick helps startups transform complex ideas into compelling narratives that build credibility, attract customers, and establish lasting industry leadership. His approach combines storytelling, strategic storytelling, brand positioning, and tactical PR to help companies uncover their unique value and create legacies that outlive the headlines. So thank you for being with us.
That's
here
a
with
lot.
us.
That's a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
I know, it's
Thanks for
right
having me,
short,
guys.
yeah,
I appreciate it. Yeah, well, I guess I can jump in. About almost a year ago, I popped back into the ecosystem, and I'm a former exec at different large brands. I thought I'd be helping startups with their products as a fractional product, chief product officer. I found very quickly that with AI and all the way innovation is approached, no one needs help with their products until way later in the process. But becoming a mentor at Rice Nexus and now at Greentown, I've learned quickly that almost every startup has a very hard time expressing their underlying magic. So what really makes them great and why we should care. I've got a number of clients today, I'm proud to say, so Approachable is doing really well. And the overarching theme here is we've really sort of nailed how to help a founder through a very simple process express their underlying magic. There's two traps that founders typically get into. We've talked about it, you alluded to it, Ben, in the intro. There's sort of two traps. One is relying on your authority. I've been in oil and gas for 30 years. I've got this new technology, buy it. Like, that's not really that engaging, right? And the second is the feature set trap, where it's, look at all the features. We're very proud. We built them all. Buy it. Well, to build fellowship for your brand, you need to deliver equal parts authority and empathy. That empathy piece is missing from both of those. So using the 7-Step Hero's journey made famous by Donald Miller from StoryBrand, and before that, Joseph Campbell in the 1950s when he broke down storytelling, we really now can get to the gist very quickly of what the underlying magic is with a startup. But then you've got to take a moment and align it to the marketplace where they're going to go play. So with any company, that's great. I love your story. I love what you do. Who's in the market already, and how are they talking about themselves, and how are you going to go differentiate yourself amongst it? So I know I kind of went far down the road. You may have some questions for me, but
That's all we needed to know. Keytrick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
no, okay, fine. I've got a seminar that's for free on July 30th. You can learn more about it either going to my LinkedIn profile or to skylar.network/approachable, and we'll get into how to get. I call it the death of the elevator pitch, because no one's got time for a lengthy elevator pitch anymore. We're all doom scrolling. That's changed humankind forever. You now have 10 seconds or one breath to communicate the value of your business and why I should care. So Approachable helps you do that, and in that seminar, we'll start the process to help you do that.
So, like you and I had a lot of conversations around the storytelling and the framework Donald Miller put out. And it's just about like each story has different, elements, right? And how those storytelling helps brands and companies to communicate with their, vendors, their customers, their partners, even investors. for startups, I think it's just very important. And I know with all your heart, you're helping the ecosystem. So Kitrick is in the Houston ecosystem, startup ecosystem, helping a lot of companies, even if the companies, even if they cannot afford it, like he helped them, because that's how you build a community, right? People that they care about community come together. The goal is to help each other, and of course we want to make money too. Like this is the gist of business. So if someone comes to you and say, look, why you are charging people? This is a business. The business should make money. But can you walk us through like the storytelling framework? What are the different actors? And how startups can use that to pitch and to communicate? Because first time, let me tell you a story. So I was in the ION with Kitrick, and I just explained to him what I do. And then we went to someone, and he just heard what I told him, and he pitched my idea to someone else. And I was like, wow.
That's what I said.
Yeah. So, if you can, walk people through like what is the framework, how it applies, and how can people, benefit from it.
Yeah, if it's okay, let's take one half step back. The
Sure.
quality of startups in Houston has improved in a crazy amount of, like just a crazy way. I had a venture studio here that failed 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. I need to do the math one day. It was painful, so I'm trying to forget it. But it failed because no one was here to invest. No one was investing outside of oil and gas or healthcare. We had an amazing cohort of companies. We built out their go-to-market, their product roadmaps, their branding, and we ended up having one successful company out of that group. Now coming back, like I said, I came back to this ecosystem last September, and there's post-revenue startups in this ecosystem that are over $1 million in post-revenue, especially at Rice Nexus. We've got a number of startups that are post-revenue that are on their second seed raise or what have you. So the quality of startups here are good. I feel it is necessary for me to help these companies be successful any way I can. So as a marketing agency, branding and marketing agency, Approachable's here to help everybody. We'll figure it out. If you're pre-seed, I'll probably help you for free. I'm just gonna say it. We need this whole ecosystem to live. So with that being said, sort of alluding to my version of Donald Miller's story brand, but taking bits and pieces of a bunch of things. At the end of the day, your brand is a guide to your customer. So that means you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, and your customer is Luke Skywalker. I used to say Yoda, but Obi-Wan Kenobi did more for Luke than Yoda ever did. We can debate it, but at the end of the day, you're their guide, and they've got a problem. And this is where I'm a design thinking practitioner, and this is where you've got to get to a consumer-centric position in your brain when you're conceptualizing your branding. What does Luke Skywalker need? What does the character in your story need? He's the hero or she's the hero, whoever they are. That brand, by the way, can be a company or a product. So you can brand a product the same you can brand a company. But they've got 3 problems: an internal problem, an external problem, and a philosophical problem, and there's probably a villain out there. And that's where you've got to really kind of dive deep into that and determine how you're going to be their guide and help them understand what the stakes, what does success look like, and what would failure look like. Then from there, we can kind of get to how do we talk about the thing that I've worked on for 15 years. I've second mortgaged my home. My wife is going to murder me. What do we do? I'm hearing laughter because it sounds like there's some truth in the green room. That is a real thing, and you've got to kind of get out of yourself, get the story down on paper. It's called a brand script, and really kind of nail that down. And then from there, folks like me can help you articulate it. And then the last thing is, once you get your messaging done, it's not done. Like it's got to be tuned and maintained all the time. I'm currently readdressing my agency's branding right now. I've got 3 that I like, and I'm not going to say them today because I'm trying to figure out how to merge all 3 right now. And it's because my agency is now offering more services. We're full service marketing, not just branding. Because I found, and the last thing I'll say, after you've figured out how to talk about yourself, you need to go tell agentic search and GEO, SEO, your messaging. You need to go establish it. And the fastest way to do that, stuff that we do, we can create a PR narrative and issue press releases, get your JSON schema going on your website, and then we can start telling folks who you are so that when you're getting shopped, you're being represented the right way. I have a number of clients that were not getting represented by AI, by AI the right way, and we've remedied that with 2 press releases and a couple messaging updates on their website.
Oh, perfect.
This is all that we bring. So we want to help
Mhm.
startups the best we possibly can.
How do startup founders kind of react to the whole process?
I have not met a founder that doesn't need my help yet.
I bet.
And it makes me so happy because I could not pick a better job. Getting to sit down in front of passionate people and hear about a different thing all the time. I'm not a good babysitter. I like new things. I want to build things all the time. I've got one founding company I'm in love with, Rick and Alyssa. I'm going to be introducing them to Ben in person, hopefully week after next. They're called Cardio. The founder is a MBA from the 1970s from Rice. He's had 2 exits. And
Great.
no offense, Rick, if you're watching this, it took him a very long time to express to me the beauty of what he's built. His product is going to save 2,000 lives a year once it gets to market. It's a medical device.
It's amazing.
You place it on a child's chest, you can figure out whether a murmur is abnormal or not. So, again, these startups are. It's tough to talk about them when you're so close to it, and it's easy to remedy. And sort of everyone needs the help in different various ways.
So, you know, like if like for the people that are watching, for the startup founders, if they want to take like 3 tips from like this discussion, what do you give them in practice? Like, what is your practical advice? Like, if I'm trying to get that, because, you know, just to be very honest and transparent, I'm working with Kit to build our messaging around like the work that we do. It's really easy to say that, but it's really hard when you start doing it. It's really hard, even for someone that knows like the framework. So what is like 3 things that people can take away from this conversation to get it started? I know this is not a simple process, but just 3 things if they wanted to get away from this conversation.
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot, but I think I got it. I think I got it. There's a few things. One is really focus on who your customer is, the hero of your story. Again, I'll pick on Rick, the founder from Rice that I'm mentioning. The company is Cardio, CAIRDIO.com. He has a product that there will be variations of the product and different customers. So it fits on your chest. So adults have different landscapes on their chest versus children. So there's even different size for different size children. So who's the customer? That's a tough decision to make. We're going to get to market first with pediatrics. So that's the customer right now. We'll work on adults later. So really nail down, get specific who your customer is. The second thing, remember I mentioned the traps of really focusing on your authority or your feature set. You need to figure out the empathy, and that's kind of weird to say, but and figure out how to talk about your empathy. And that's you're starting Noble Founder because you've been there before. Well, express that. How did it feel worrying late at night and working all day and not being able to pay yourself and like all those things? That's your empathy, depending on your product and your category. Then the third thing is really pay attention to your value proposition and how you should be different. Again, there are not a lot of unique ideas out in this world right now, and now you're starting to see ideas that are sort of subsets of other ideas. I heard a few at Cup of Joey today at the Ion, like, okay, your idea is a feature of something I'm already using. So why do I need to care about this? And they may have an angle, like that has happened. I mean, yellowpages.com used to exist like that.
Yeah.
Like that. So really nail those 3 down, and you'll be half the way there. Reach out to me. I'm happy to help any way I can.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And I think, that's the biggest thing. If you are looking for funding, right, the first thing they're going to ask you, who's your customer, right? And then they're going to use terms like, what is your ICP? I'm like, what is ICP? Who's your, ideal customer profile? And is this idea solving a problem, or you're just a genius coming up with this idea? And, like, I am the hero. Like, I'm the hero of the story. So, I came with this idea and everybody should buy it. And how do you differentiate? Like, when you go pitch this to any investor, they're going to ask the same question, like, who's your customer, right? And what are you offering that is different from others, and how you are positioning yourself in the market.
In 10 seconds or one breath, you need to engage someone and then hopefully inspire them to go home and tell their family about you. And if you can do that, you win.
And I think that's why you have this seminar. Like, it's just all about the pitching, right? Mm-hmm. Just think you're in a situation with your ideal investor, and you have just 5-10 seconds, right? Either you just tell them and they remember you, they want to have a second conversation, or they're like, oh yeah, like you said, I think I heard about it before somewhere somehow.
Yeah, I have one more question. How would you recommend a founder prepares, like, emotionally, to process? Because I think what they process with you is like a very emotional process, or just like creatively. I know you gave them like 3 points, but like in terms of, like, if somebody were to come see you tomorrow,
Sure.
what do you recommend, like, as like a homework for them? Like
The process moves faster if you can give me anything that talks about your company to me ahead of time. No idea is a bad idea. I'm not here to judge the quality of a startup or even the idea. I want to help you talk about your idea. So if I can see how you've talked about it already, then I can do some preliminary work before I sit down with you. I can see, they're leading with their feature set because they're an engineer and they're really proud of the 25 things that they built from their backlog. Okay, that's great, but why is it important that I know this is here? Sometimes a pitch deck will tell it to me, but I met with a company last week. They sent me their pitch deck, but the messaging was all toward the investor. I think that's a crucial point to make. Your messaging to an investor is different than your messaging to your hero of your story. So I was able to see how they talk about how they talk to their investor people that they're speaking with, but they really didn't have the rest figured out. And we'll be nailing that down probably next week.
Awesome. Well, tell us one more time when your workshop is and where people can find you.
Yeah, so July 30th at noon, hour-long free seminar called The Death of the Elevator Pitch and the One Breath Test. I'm going to put a few founders to the test, to the test literally. I am embracing one of my clients, Skylar.network. So go to Skylar. If you've been to Cup of Joey the last few weeks, we're working through the process of helping Joey collect his audience into that community. I'm embracing it. I'm going to be meeting with him and Ben here later today, and that's where we're going to have the seminar. So Skylar.network/approachable.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, folks.
Dietrich.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Take care.
Yeah,
Lovely
absolutely.
conversation.
It's all about storytelling, right? It's all about how we tell stories and how we really get our message out. Because it's important for people to understand and learn about us in a way that is important to them.
Right, and I think even as a founder, how you start, how you deliver your message with clarity. I think when you start telling the story and you have all these things that you've been working on for decades, it makes it hard to put things into
Yeah.
words. So it's great that we have people in the ecosystem that can help reach that clarity. And just help us move along and help us tell our narratives and our pitches and everything.
So I think that will help you to validate the idea. So the startup idea, people come with the idea, and what Gertrude just explained here, we have this idea. You need to understand who is the hero of your story. Who is your customer? Is this customer in a really insane pain? Is there a problem that you are solving? And is this solution addressing that pain and problem in a way that customer is willing to pay for that? So there is a difference. Like there's this notion of there are people that are building solutions that they are like vitamins. So in the middle of night, you're not going to go out and buy vitamins, but in the middle of night, you're going to go out and buy, painkiller if you have like really bad pain. This is exactly true for everything that you build as a startup. Because if you want to validate your idea, just go to market and start asking people, is this a good idea? Yes, no. Do you need this idea? Yes, no. Is your pain, hard enough to pay for this idea? Like, do you have this bad pain that you're willing to pay for this idea? If the answer is no, you need to refine the idea, you need to refine the solution, and you need to have more conversations with people. So now you know what is the exact problem that we are solving. So this is kind of like the validation part, which now is even more important. Because you need to know what exactly the customer is looking for. You need to get into their head.
Right. And what we're building here at the Innovation Studio, we really want to focus on local solutions and identifying local problems. I mean, really focus on discovering what those local problems are within Houston and how we can develop solutions around that. And somebody that's actually already doing that right down the street is the Mayor's Office of Education at City Hall.
Yeah.
And a couple, when was that? Maybe like a month ago now. They held something called the Ed Talk competition. We have our guests, and they can talk about it a little more in a second. But we have Hansita, sorry girls, I don't want to mess up your names, Chigyasa and Raga. We'll have them introduce themselves in a second. So it was 3 different groups of students that were able to pitch their ideas, and we have invited them today to tell us a little bit more about what they're doing, and how all of it is centered around discovering actual solutions that can be implemented into Houston. And so how can we bring them into the ecosystem? How can we help startups like them and small projects? We think they're small projects, but what they put together is really amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the most really impressive thing about them is when you look at those projects, they are addressing real problems. And what really caught our attention is some of those solutions, they have global potential. Like if you're fighting things that are, really a big problem for Houston, if you put enough synergy behind it, it could become a global solution that can fight that problem globally. So
so we asked them 3 different things, and we'll put up their presentation because they're going to go through their presentation. But we asked them 3 different things also, just how they identified the problem, why Rooted Together has the potential to solve it. That's their app that they're putting together. And then we've asked them to pitch their idea in 2 to 3 minutes. So we can put up their presentation, and they'll come join us over here in a second.
Every single year, millions of immigrants immigrate to one of the most diverse cities in the entirety of the United States, Houston. But the problem arises when they can't take a lot of their opportunities back home and actually translate it into success in the United States. That's why we're bridge builders, here to find a solution to root immigrants together.
So I'm Raga.
I'm Hansita.
And I'm Jigyasa.
Now, the reason that we came up with this idea and we started researching it is because we wanted to enter a competition called Ed Talks, which I found out about because I'm a City of Houston Youth Ambassador. And when we were researching different problems that are in Houston, there's definitely a lot, But I came across an article that was talking about brain waste with immigrants that came to the US that had certifications and they had all their diplomas and everything, but they couldn't put it into use because of how companies weren't accepting it and many other problems. Now, we decided that as the children of immigrants, there's a lot of problems that immigrants face. It's hard to integrate into the community here, and we wanted to help them and we wanted to ease that integration, and so that's why we came up with Rooted Together.
And we're confident that our app can solve these problems because in our app, we'll go into our features a bit more later during our pitch. But our features, when they come together, they allow immigrants to have the resources they need to find jobs, education, and opportunities in cities that are new and they're not familiar with. And that's exactly why we think Rooted Together will succeed. And we have plenty of partnerships that we've already been in discussion with. And we plan on using those resources combined with the resources we plan on creating, along with our green AI that we plan on integrating into our app to come together and create an app for everyone. Yeah.
So through our marketing, we mainly plan to use a lot of social media, but we also plan to go to different community workshops and different areas that are already kind of hosting community events, so it's easier to have greater amounts of outreach. And through that, we also plan to do financing through different in-kind partnerships, right? So we're really reliant on the City of Houston and a lot of our different partners to essentially fund this project. But our project is going to be relatively on a smaller scale in terms of financing, and then we hope to scale it through different marketing initiatives in the long term. Along with our financing, we're also going to be looking at different grants we can look at, and then obviously like different venture capital firms like the one we're here today. And yeah.
I think we can get into our pitch now. Okay, so again, we're Rooted Together. Our team name is Bridge Builders. Oh, there's a clicker.
Oh.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah, so just a little bit of an opportunity contextualization. Almost 1 in 3 individuals in Houston are foreign-born residents, and they're really important to our workforce. They contribute almost 31.8% every single year, and they contribute almost $66.5 billion into our economy. The problem is, a lot of them don't have a high school equivalency degree, and those that do aren't able to utilize it in the United States.
And that's why we built Rooted Together. So this is our app in action. We actually created a mock-up using Figma where we could kind of see how our app would actually function. So to begin, our app starts off with personalized onboarding where users can choose from over 120 plus languages. And our app is extremely user-friendly, meaning that even immigrants who have barely any exposure to apps have a good familiarity with how to use our app.
Okay, and one of the things that we offer is education. As I was talking about brain waste, we have an easy to access dashboard, we have progress tracking, and the biggest thing that we have is over 120 courses we plan to integrate into our app, such as ESL courses, GED prep, which helps for high school certifications, and career certifications.
Now, moving on, after education, we also think it's really important that users are able to find jobs that are actually legitimate and are connected to local employers. So that's exactly why in Rooted Together, we have verified job opportunities along with our green AI that we use to assist with certain skills that immigrants are familiar with to find the perfect job for them, along with mock interviews and resume and career tips.
No, oh, okay.
Yeah, so looking into like the different resources and services that we have, we're gonna have different legal resources. So essentially, if they're immigrating here and they need to get like legal citizenship or they need to translate their job, they can use that. There's also immigration guidance through our trusted community partners. Of course, we have service referrals through that. So if our partners are actually hosting a different service, we're gonna directly refer them to that. And then finally, we have healthcare access and housing resources so they're able to integrate better. And then finally, we're gonna have transportation information and local services so they're gonna be able to get around the city easier.
Additionally, we also think culture is a really important part of integrating into a new place. It's important that we have aspects of our culture, and that's exactly why we also have a culture section where immigrants can learn a bit more about the U.S. workplace culture, familiarize themselves with traditions here, while also building a support and social network that they can rely on.
Yeah, and then looking into our partnerships, so we've already reached out to a lot of different centers and agencies, and a lot of them have actually responded. We have the local public libraries in Houston. We have Baker Ripley, which is going to help us with our legal services, as well as like different healthcare services. And then finally, we have YMCA with our cultural centers and religious centers, ranging from all groups, and the Houston Immigrant Legal Services Collaborative, which is also going to help with legal services. So with our app, we're essentially going to have a one-stop shop, so they don't have to refer to all these different websites that may not be user-friendly, and they have to really scout out for that. So instead, with our marketing and our one-stop shop, we're going to have more audiences, and they're going to be able to easily access where they are and when they need it.
Okay, and this is a bit more about how we're going to market our app. So we plan to find immigrants exactly where they are, and this includes airports, immigration approval packets, apartments, schools, just different public places where we can meet immigrants and our audience that our app can really help. And we also plan on having awareness campaigns and referrals where friends, family, or like we are City of Houston ambassadors can help refer our app, and yeah. Thank you
that's
for
pretty much
listening.
it.
We have like all our in-depth app mock-up, financials, and flyers, and we're hoping to look forward to working with everyone.
Thank you so much.
So thank you everybody for listening. Does anybody have any questions? So we want to just open it up to a Q&A real quick for y'all, but then also just a Q&A
Yeah.
for anybody else.
So, one more thing we wanted to announce is, so we're gonna, the Noble Founder Innovation Studio, we're gonna incubate the project. We're gonna, there are partners in our ecosystem that they're offering you the services that you can, you can accelerate building and launching your idea. And we have, like here we have marketing, we have all different expertise, Creatopia, my company, Noble and Iron Grove. There are other companies that they are willing to help you to launch your idea and solve this big problem, which is like the problem that we are just seeing globally. It's not just a local problem. But thank you for your presentation. Really appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you so much for hosting us.
Of course, and we'll come back to, so you can
Okay.
go sit down. But we'll go to our studio audience part of it, so y'all will be there and we can hear more from you there as well. Thank you, Keytrick, and thank you, girls, for being part of our show today, and sharing and pitching and like really enlightening us about storytelling and
Yeah,
all that
absolutely.
goes into that, right? So we can just open it up to the audience now. We do have a camera that'll go over there, and I think there's a mic somewhere over there that they can ask questions with. So if anybody from the audience wants to just introduce who you are and maybe even give your little pitch, if you want to do a little pitch about what you do and how you're part of the ecosystem, we'd love to hear from you.
Hello. Hi, I'm Kenneth Benavides, and I am working as an advisory with Iron Grove, and we're an infrastructure and AI and web development company.
Hi, I'm Joseph Bankley. I'm going to be leading the Founders Couch starting on July 31st. I'm also a founder of Next Shift IQ, career intelligence platform. Still working on it.
Yeah, so my name's Greg Mysick. I founded two inventor groups. I founded the Houston Inventors Association in 1983, the Young Inventors Showcase in 1988. Girls, if you go to younginventorsshowcase.org, I've got an 8-week course on the website where your community, the kids, can invent. And so I'm launching a crowdfunding campaign on givebutter.com/YIAA, where I am launching 100 innovation pods around the country. So Rosilia, that's why I'm here.
I know. Good to see
You
you.
want to reintroduce yourselves? I'm sure it's not.
My name is Raga. I'm from Rooted Together, Bridge Builders.
I'm Hansita, and I'm also from Rooted Together.
And I'm Jigyasa. I'm also from Rooted Together.
Thank you.
Here, I'm going to pass it on. I've had enough time on here today. Here you go.
Thanks so much. Trent, I'm the founder of Veil, and Veil is the operating system for premium life, where there's payments, promoter attribution, payroll, access, every entrance, and every transaction.
Wonderful. I have a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Fru, I'm the founder of. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm Roland Fru. I'm the founder of Vedely. So Vedely helps you turn your daily signals into like practical habits that can help you stay healthy. I heard a lot from the guest speakers, and one of the questions that I wanted to ask the guests is like, what made you want to do that? It's a beautiful idea, and I think a lot of immigrants will really find a lot of value in that. What made you guys get into doing this?
So yeah, obviously, like, we are daughters of immigrants, and we saw how much effort a lot of our communities put in to actually give us all these opportunities and even to be here today. So we definitely wanted to give back to that community, and especially in times of like political polarization and lack of opportunity that's really arising today, we really wanted to bridge that gap. And in a city that's so diverse like this, there's obviously a need for it. So yeah, that's exactly why we decided to develop.
I got a question, and I think it's probably is a question for Kenneth Kettrick too. It's how do you? So you built a great app. It's a great idea, but what do you say to naysayers who are like, "Why should I join your app if it's a SaaS product? Anyone can build another SaaS product in a matter of 5 seconds. Just copy a page and have like what sets you apart?" And then the question I asked for Kritrick, I will save that question because it's similar. It's also as a startup. I'm also struggling with communicating. I think you mentioned earlier, communicating why your startup is different is one of the harder part.
Okay, sure. So you can obviously like look online and see all these opportunities. But the thing that differentiates us is trust, because with the political landscape today, a lot of immigrants are hesitant to trust different services because we already have our established partners that have been credible and running their businesses for over a century. Whenever we have that, they're more likely to be inclined to use our app. Additionally, we're going to have a cybersecurity promise to make sure that any of their personal data doesn't actually get tracked. We're not going to sell it to third parties, which a lot of different apps actually do today. And also with our app, we prefer to use it as an app because it's more user-friendly for immigrants compared to a website where anyone can copy and paste. But an app's going to be more user-friendly, so they're more inclined to use it overall.
Thank you so much. That was excellent. And yeah. So the question was around, I think you framed it perfectly. The hardest thing for me to communicate is what differentiates my app from a different app. And you mentioned empathy. I understand, it's part of the story you went through to start up. So ladies, you communicate, you're daughters of immigrants, but then what else? Like, how do you differentiate yourself? Are there like formulas you use to differentiate yourself outside of?
Formula is an interesting question. I don't know if anyone has a formula. Look, I think there's some fundamental blocking and tackling that startups do that's sort of off to the side, that's not branding. You know, these ladies have done a great job pulling together a concept. But then you have these other considerations. Who's already in the market? What are they doing? How long have they been there? What kind of uptake do they have? You know, what kind of engagement do they already have with an audience? And you have to ask yourself some hard questions like that's a hard place to go play. I'm not sure I can do it. And then a lot of people, you've heard people like they're in quiet mode and they're not going to market yet because maybe their idea is really easy to copy and paste. So, you know, I think it comes down to differentiation. Be really honest with yourself about looking at the competition that's out there already. Look at their value set, you know, their value proposition, their feature set, sorry. Look at your value proposition and your feature set and do some math. Like that's not a formula. Definitely use AI. You know, that's Claude, Perplexity, what have you, is like lined up to do that research for you. And then once you kind of see how you're differentiated, we can talk about how to talk about you. Like I love what you ladies are doing. I hope you get all the help you can, and I hope you do it here. Just you didn't ask for my opinion, but I think you mentioned the political climate. I hope you think about leading with security and trust, especially with the partners and the businesses and the folks that are going to be putting maybe job postings into your platform. There's a lot of funky stuff going on in that world politically, and I hope that everyone's protected and safe. Safe is really the key. But does that help you a little bit? Okay. Who's next?
Yeah, I really like when you. I really like when you mentioned about going, even though it's basics, you going through your competitors, seeing what they have, and use AI, of course, and comparing them to what you have to offer. I think that was very helpful. Yeah, thanks.
One more tidbit. I've got a client. I'm not going to name them. They're going to be a unicorn out of Houston. They're about to close a round of funding. Back to that brand authority thing that I mentioned. Remember, you're looking at your competition's value proposition because they've done some work establishing their narrative in the marketplace. It's very easy for you to establish your narrative, but you got to kind of keep an eye on where there's an opportunity for you to have a voice. I love that for the startups that I'm helping. These guys, I've got actually 2 clients that agentic search was not representing them properly. One is, I can name them, Texas Bakery Supply. They're one of the leading suppliers. I mean, if you're eating donuts, the donut's been made with their ingredients. Like, and they're family-owned, multiple generation business. AI and Google search would tell you, if you search, like, I'm opening a bakery, I'm looking for a supplier who's great. They don't even come up, and if anything, they were considered a last-minute supplier. You can go to their back door and buy something with a credit card and go keep making the donuts. That's not what their business is. They can fully supply anyone any day, and now they're extending into Mexican bakeries, and they're doing things. They go to the AI unicorn company I mentioned. A big part of their business, which made me think about trust with you ladies, was trust. It was not mentioned in anything when you're doing a compare and contrast using Claude or whatever AI tool, like show me the companies in their competitive set. They were not being represented properly. So I think it's on you as a business owner to make sure that that's happening. And it's you know, brand authority, press release campaigns, really staying on top of your Google reviews, things like that. There's tactics that you can find. Okay.
What is your USP? Your USP?
My.
Your differentiation. What differentiates you in the market?
Oh, well, there's my differentiation is I haven't seen an approachable marketing services business that's willing to go the extra mile to help startups. In this, I'm focused on startups. My past is pretty broad. I've got a big network, so I help anybody. But at the end of the day, the startup scene here needs the work that my company does the best. So, and we try.
Your review of the Houston startup ecosystem compared to the other ecosystems?
Someone said last week at Cup of Joey that they hoped that it would become Silicon Valley here.
You think we're on that path?
No, and I don't want it to be.
Why?
No, I don't want it to be because we're different. My very good friend Ian Uriarte, who's one of the founding members of this ecosystem, mentioned that we build very big things that drill very deeply into the ground and deeply into the ocean. We know how to deliver big things. In Silicon Valley, we could dream up a startup and maybe sell it to one of the big established businesses there. I'm not seeing a lot of that happening here. I think we need to figure out what we do uniquely. And just in the last 10 years, I mentioned it, the quality of startups has changed. The way Rice has really leaned in and embraced it. The alumni that are coming out of the universities, the company Carideo I mentioned earlier, their product is going to save the lives of children, built by capstone projects from University of Houston and Rice. So it starts with, I think, the universities. And then the folks like Ben and Roselia and others that are coming to help nurture and help lift all the startups here that are trying to make a difference. Okay, this is not our show, dude.
Thank you, Keytrick.
Thank
Does
you very
anybody
much.
else have any questions for anybody?
Oh.
Yeah, I just want to make one comment. You said something that I thought was really critical. You said that as basically a newcomer in the community, you've reached out to established institutions that have been around for many, many years to give yourself credibility. I think that's really smart. So I'm just giving you an atta girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely want to rely on those that are already experienced. Obviously, us being youth, we don't have that many years of experience in the industry. So really being able to rely on that and help also market their services as well would be a pleasure.
I think the other thing is initially because this was a City of Houston competition, the majority of our trust was built on the fact that not only just the partnerships, but also the fact that the city would be rolling out our product. So if it's coming directly from the city, you know that the immigrants can trust it, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's really a core of what we want to do here at the Innovation Studio is really invest in our future generation. We do think that they are going to save us all.
Yeah,
So thank you for being here.
what we are building, the ecosystem, Innovation Studio, Noble Founder, and I'm part of another group called Something Global. The idea is let's just build something for our children and grandchildren, something that is humanity first. It's important to consider that money will come. Like, when you build, if you do it right, if you build the startup correctly, you're going to get to money eventually. But what is the impact that you are going to make on the future of humanity, future of our children and grandchildren? So thank you for being a part of a greater and bigger, impactful solution globally, all of you. I think everybody in this room, we can say they're building something amazing, something great, and we are here to help. We are here to support.
Right. Yeah, I think we're all aligned in the vision, and really that's saying that if you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
And I think we are showing up. So thank you all for showing up today. A shout out to our sponsors and our motivators. We have 77 Stash with alkaline drinks. They'll be integrating into the ecosystem more and more. We also have Ken Benavides with Iron Grove in the audience today. Thank you, Ken, for your support in so many ways. And then here at the Innovation Studio, we are sponsored by 801 Travis and the Innovation Hub, which has a grand vision of turning District I into the Innovation District. So stay tuned for that and be part of all of it as much as you want. So shout out to our sponsors, 801 Travis and the Innovation Hub as well.
And those are the people that they are participating by doing. 801 Travis, Innovation Hub, they wanted to make this innovation tower, like 801 Travis become innovation tower. And when people just talk about like, oh yeah, we're supporting the ecosystem, they're just talking about. But people in 801 Travis, Innovation Hub, and other people that are really, really supporting this by doing stuff, by providing the opportunity for us to build this studio, to bring people together. So thank you so much for actually doing it, for actually putting this effort together to build this ecosystem.
Yes, there's a lot of things that, a lot of little details that are part of putting something as big as we are putting together, that have to come together. So we're very grateful. And if anybody wants to be a sponsor or wants to be involved in other ways, please reach out to us. We are going to be starting a fundraiser soon on August 1st for the Innovation Studio and for all of our shows. We have other live shows, and we have a lot of different startups and a lot of different mentors and investors and people who are aligned with the vision. And we want you to be involved too. So reach out and let us know how you want to participate.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate your attention, and appreciate all the audience for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great Friday.
Take care. Bye.